Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
You're watching Share Shootout here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. I'm Bruce Whitfield, in studio tonight. Not one, but two baby-faced assassins. Two of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, but they are good players of Share Shootout. Before the break, Mike and Gary both gave us two of their share picks. Mike Haworth chose Distell and British American Tobacco. Both of those reluctantly being chosen as, yes, above average and pretty good stock picks by Gary Booysens, who is not a good loser, I tell you that much. And then, of course, Mike Haworth had a look at Gary Booysens' picks. Torre Industrial, you must be joking. He said, shot it down without a moment's notice. No mercy, no sympathy. Behind this cool, sweet exterior is the heart of a vicious stock picker. MediClinic, however, you did give the big thumbs up to, simply because it helps serve the market of British American Tobacco and Distell customers, ultimately in their dotage as they get a little bit older. So, Mike, let's go with your final pick this evening. I find it an interesting pick because this is part of the old Liberty International. Is this the shopping centre business, or is this the inner London business of capital and counties? 30 seconds. Inner
London business. It is an opportunity for South Africans to buy into the West End, to buy into Earl's Court and Olympia, and to buy into Covent Garden. So what's not to like about that? It's a property hub. It's essentially a property investment and development company. There's big plans to develop Earl's Court and Olympia into a massive village in West London. So that's where the growth's going to come from. It's got a loan to value on its portfolio of 12%.
Okay.
What's not to like about that?
Now, there we go. I want to see how you shoot this one down.
Yeah, I don't know. The UK property market is not somewhere where I'm really looking at the moment. I think the way I think the real opportunity in that vehicle previously was with all the exchange restrictions in South Africa. You could go and buy into capital and counties. You'll get your money offshore without having to go through SARS clearance, etc. Now every year it gets more and more lax. You can take more and more money offshore, and I think there are far more exciting opportunities out there, and even in property rates. I mean, all over the place. And buying into London's West End, a market that it has come down now after 2008, but was compared to the rest of England was something like 40% overvalued. So no, not for me. Definitely shooting it down.
What about those arguments? That I went in 2008, 2009, just as the crisis was unfolding into the UK, and there was tumbleweed going through Covent Garden. It felt like there were uncharacteristically boarded up shops. I think things have probably improved a little bit since those scary days, but the reality is that London market did come under a lot of strain.
Covent Garden's 99% occupancy. The great capital partnership, which holds the Empress State, that's not Empire State. No. They house the Metropolitan Police Authority. It's a 31-storey building, fully let for many years.
What about the argument, though, that there are more exciting places to be as a South African with a 4 million rand offshore allowance every year, plus another million if you don't travel? You can get that through the Reserve Bank, and you can go and do far fancier, cleverer, and more exciting things with your money.
Well, you're buying into a key property investment in the heart of London, which is an international financial hub, and you've got a professional management team looking after it for you. I would not, if somebody said to me, would you go and buy a little house in Oxford? Or would you go and buy this is the equivalent amount in capital and counties? I can tell you, I'd go straight into capital and counties.
You can't argue that point. You can't argue that point. A bit of residential property in rural England versus commercial property. Are you shooting it down just because you don't want to be the first person in the history of the program to accept three of your competitor stocks, or is it really that conviction that there are better places to put your money offshore?
I think there are better places to put their money offshore. You don't need to, if you want property exposure, you don't necessarily need to buy a house in Oxford. You can buy offshore property rates very easily. And if you're looking at property, I'd probably look local. I mean, the tax structure has just changed around South African property rates. A lot of new assets coming onto the balance sheet. Those are re-rating higher. Look at Growth Point, look at Redefine, hitting new highs every day. I think far rather buy rates in South Africa than in London, in a market that's stagnating.
Whether you like it or not, he's found an excuse finally to shoot you down. Okay, Gary, let's see whether or not Mike will oblige you by being nice and also choosing two of your stocks, because of course he shot down Torre, he accepted MediClinic. I would like to know how he is going to shoot down Bidvest, because that's your stock pick number 3 in 30 seconds.
Bidvest, yeah, I think Bidvest says it all for itself, and you just need to look at the performance. But yeah, obviously, you've got the management of Brian Jaffe, very, very good. Decentralized structure in all sorts of different things. Very, very, a safer industrial stock pick. Look at the industrial sector doing very, very well. Nice exposure in Australia, nice exposure in Europe. Maybe and South Africa may be under a little bit of pressure, but I mean, looking at the Australian business where you've got interest rates being cut and now lower unemployment as well, I think that the business is going to do very, very well.
Bidvest?
Service company does well with strong inflation. Inflation is going to peak soon.
Inflation is going to peak soon. That's a big, bold statement. Explain.
Well, when
inflation
one
hasn't
looks
begun yet.
Look at all the forecasts. We're not talking about personal inflation. We're talking about headline.
Okay.
And most of the forecasts, including the SARB, are for it to peak in the third quarter at 6.3% and start coming down. But essentially, I think that quite a lot of the expansion that Bidvest was, it's a very acquisitive company. It had been buying semi-state assets. It looks like the state now wants to completely invert that process. So I think that acquisitional potential has probably started to dry up. It doesn't look like the Adcock acquisition is going well at all.
It's gone terribly quiet, hasn't it?
And the big issue about buying companies now in South Africa is there's a dearth of real good management. So you've got to keep the management on board unless there's something fundamentally wrong.
You're sounding desperate.
Listen, it is a very solid, good company. I don't have a problem with it at all. If you ask me, would I put in something like Bidvest versus Capital and Counties, I can tell you my Rand hedge would outperform Bidvest.
Okay, from today, 12 months from now, I'm taking a note and we're going to measure it. Feeling bold?
I am.
Then you may shoot it down. Okay, so here we come to the decision where you have shot it down, incidentally, just for the record. You have shot it down, okay. He accused Gary Booysens at the beginning of the show of bringing a pea shooter to a gunfight. Gary Booysens, of course, has chosen 3 shares this evening. Torre Industrial sounds exciting, a nice high-risk opportunity to give your portfolio just a little bit of vooma, but Mike didn't like it. Shot it down. MediClinic, Mike likes, and Bidvest Group, he likes it, but not enough. He prefers his own picks this evening, which from bottom up, Capital and Counties, which Gary says you must be joking, there are better opportunities elsewhere. British American Tobacco, filthy habit, but I had to overrule Gary's principled and heartfelt and honest and nice objection to it. It's not an investment objection, however, so that was overruled. British American Tobacco. And then Distell, he's also given it the thumbs up. So almost by default, he's done my job for me. He's been the good guy this evening, has Gary Booysens, and he has identified 2 of his competitors' picks as being better than his own. And on that basis, Gary Booysens, I'm afraid you have to go. Which makes Super Tuesday your Super Tuesday, Mike Haworth, and you now have got a victory against Gary Booysens. So you're 1-all
square
in terms of the big fights, and also breaking with a long-held tradition of being the guy in the middle who's actually won. We'll be back next Tuesday right here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. Do remember, catch me on Twitter, give me your share shootout suggestions and your thoughts. Send me a message, Bruce Business on Twitter. Catch up again with you next week as we continue to pick out a winner and we shoot out the rest, especially if they're too nice.